Hello, so today I have my Halloween recommendations video for you. Halloween is my favourite time of year. I know everyone says this in the Halloween video, but really it is. I've never been much of a Christmas person, and I love the whole spookiness, and I love the dressing up and the jewellery and this bauble that I work out every Halloween. And I hope you like my fairy lights. They are little green ghosts. And this year I'm having a Halloween party. How sophisticated am I? Because it's the first year I'm not dressing up and going around people's houses asking for food. So I really hope you like this video. I should probably clarify that these books aren't necessarily horror books, more mostly children's books with a spooky or eerie theme to them. But they're all really good. So I hope you enjoy. So the first book I have to show you is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. This is quite an old book. It was one of my dad's from when he was younger, and it's really good. I can't remember much of it because it's so long since I read it, but from what I can remember, there's this train and it's got a fair on it, and there's all sorts of weird and wonderful things in this fair. They're really spooky, and they did make a film of this, so some of this is remembering from the film, and it's sort of a be careful what you wish for story. And I'll read you the blurb. Deep in every human heart is a secret dream, that one great wish, one internal fantasy that you would live for, die for, give anything for. What if someone knew your secret dream? Suppose you could make that dream come true before you ever guessed the price you had to pay. What if the next time you'd lie awake in the dead of night you hear a train headed towards your town? What if he were on it? So yeah, that pretty much just sums up in better words what I just said. Next up we have Anna Dressed in Blood. Can't remember who it's by, but I loved this book. It was so well written. It's one of those books where you're just enjoying reading it, not only because of the story but because of how well written it is. Whoa, pronouncing my T's am I? Call myself a Yorkshire lass. So it's about this boy, and he's a hunter, and his mum is a witch, and he hunts like unrestful spirits, and these are like the ones that are still on earth because of unfinished business and that, and they're often quite the troublemakers, so he goes and sends them, I don't know, to the other side, to peace. I've been watching a lot of the Vampire Diaries. And there is one particular ghost that many hunters have tried and failed at sending away, and that is Anna. So with his new friends from school, he's going on like a mission to save them, but he's sort of caught between like involving his friends and putting them in danger and just doing this all himself. And it's a really good book. Next up might surprise you, and that is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, the second book in the Harry Potter series. Oh my god. Right, I remember little 10-year-old me being a little bit scared when I read this. I wasn't like overly scared, but there's definitely some eerie spookiness to it, and there's definitely a lot of mystery. No one really knows what's going on, and everyone's in a lot of danger. And I remember not wanting to read this just before I went to bed because I can't even read books about illness before going to bed. I once read a book about the plague, and that night, oh my god, the dreams, they were horrible. But yeah, this is a really good book. And if you haven't read Harry Potter, seriously, like, what are you playing at? Next up is Wood Angel by Erin Bow. I believe in some countries this is called Plain Kate. But it's about this girl called Kate. She doesn't really have anyone left, and she is a witch. She makes these little like lucky charms out of wood, and she sells them. I think she sleeps like in a drawer at her stall where she sells them, and she's in a lot of danger, and she's come up with this plan, and she's being helped by some untrusty people, but that's all I'm going to tell you. Next up we have the Spiderwick Chronicles by Holly Black and someone else. Oh my god, I love the Spiderwick Chronicles. They're a children's series, and I have the omnibus, I just can't find it at the moment, and I was reading each individual book like they were chapters. I was going through it so fast, and I just loved them so much. They're about fairies and boggarts and elves and all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and there's lots of like legends and discovering secrets, and it is a little bit sort of scared. It's one of those that you get so into it that you're thinking all these things are happening to you, and you're like terrified that a boggart's gonna come and tie your hair to the bedposts, and it's brilliant. It's really great. Next up we have the Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. This isn't scary so much as twisted. One or two of the stories in particular are a little bit and the whole book is just beautifully illustrated, and the little sort of wizard's fairy tales, and they're really fun because you don't have to read the whole thing, you can just read the individual stories, which I've done many times. Or you can read the whole thing and it'll take you about an hour because they're just stories. And next up is another weird one, and actually this is a book that I didn't particularly like, and that is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Some people might be surprised that I absolutely hate this book because I know his poem Jabberwocky off by heart. I should recite that someday. I didn't like Alice, but I've always found the Disney film and the Johnny Depp film, oh my god, the Johnny Depp film, a little bit sort of scary. I find Johnny Depp in general quite scary. Like, why does he put all that? Ugh. Anyway, Alice in Wonderland, it's a bit spooky and eerie, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm definite Lewis Carroll was high when he wrote this. From what I've heard, he just got high and then like wrote about what he saw, which is just genius, but it has no plot to it and it's horrible. Why is this a classic? Like, it has no plot. Next up is Velvet by Mary Hooper. Borrowed this from the library when I read it, and it is about a girl called Velvet, and she goes to work for a woman in her house, and this woman summons spirits for a job. Oh my god, I've forgotten what that's called. I've forgotten what summoning spirits is called. I'm sorry, I'm a sad excuse for a supernatural fan. A seance. And she, like, it's a really good story. I can't really tell you any more than that without spoiling it, but it's so interesting. And next up we have Montacute House by Lucy Jago. I really like this book. I gave it 3 stars at the time, but now thinking about it, I think it deserves a 4 stars. Because 3 stars was a little harsh. It's about witchcraft and it's a historical fiction, so it's like back in the day when witchcraft was dangerous, and it's all about like death and witchcraft, and I'm not going to tell you any more than that because I'm just awkward and terrible at summaries. And finally, The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. This is the only Narnia book I've ever actually finished, and it's really weird because I've read this about 6 times, and every time I've absolutely loved it, but for some reason I've never carried on the series, even though I own a box set. It makes no sense, but I love The Magician's Nephew. It is a little bit scary because his uncle is a bit mad, and they're like exploring and going through attics and going into all these weird worlds, and it is a little bit eerie, but it's brilliant at the same time. So that is all the books I had to show you. As I said, they weren't exactly horror, but spooky books. If you have any good books to recommend me, please do, because I just finished Blood of Olympus last night and I do not know what to do with myself right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.